Hey, this is Scott Photography Bonsai. Today I'm going to do a 2019 guesstimation of the camera industry, things that will happen in 2019 with cameras, camera manufacturers, whatever. Kind of a continuation of the 2018 awards video that was basically a joke, but I was serious at the same time. So let's get started. 2018 was the year of gigantic lenses for full-frame mirrorless. I think 2019 we'll start to see smaller lenses for the full-frame mirrorless cameras. There is definitely an improvement with some technology, the Fresnel lenses, the Fresnel technology, kind of a nanotube, whatever. There are a few articles around about it, but basically Nikon has their PF lenses. We'll see more of those. I think Sony with their 400mm is pretty compact for what it is, and the 24 as well. Basically, we'll just see smaller lenses, hopefully, in 2019. I do think there will be a return of dual card slots from the big two. For whatever reason, they were holding those back from the mid-range cameras. Now, I don't think that we'll see dual card slots in mid-range stuff moving forward, but maybe Sony and others will kind of remotivate Canon and Nikon to add those back in. Let's hope. 2019 could be the year of the global shutter. Basically, that's a sensor that can record or read all of the information at once from the sensor. So with video situations, you won't have rolling shutter. Basically, there'll be some type of memory buffer on the sensor itself for every single recording location. It'll save that information all at once, and then it'll push it to the processor. Hopefully that's a thing in 2019. I think there is the potential for that happening with Sony especially, maybe even Canon, who knows. My Canon predictions, I do think they will release 2 EFM cameras, maybe even a third one. The first one will be the M5 revision, and then the M6. I hope, or I think they'll have a new sensor inside, and that will give a lot of more improvements with the cameras just based on the sensor readout. Could even be a global shutter, you never know, but I kind of doubt that. We could potentially see another lens for the EFM system, especially if the new cameras they release have some type of weather resistance, maybe a super high-end M5 II, whatever, with slightly larger. There could even be in-body shape reduction. The thing so far with the EFM cameras is that Canon has basically been using that as a proving ground for their mirrorless technology. Now that we have the new mount, that might not be the case, but you never know. Maybe they will release some stuff on the EFM system first, and then we'll get their new EOS R2 camera. So that'll probably be really late in 2019 for a revised, more advanced EOS R camera, but I do think that's coming for sure. I don't think they would use Sony sensors because the dual pixel AF technology is kind of inherent to how the sensor is designed, but you never know. They might basically use their technology and have Sony make it, but I really doubt that. Sigma is in an interesting position for 2019. They've been really improving in the past with all their lenses. Definitely a lot of fast, impressive glass. It is huge, but they might potentially release some smaller stuff moving forward. You never know. Basically, they're going to have the L-mount Alliance cameras. If they have that, and it's potentially Foveon, or most likely the Foveon sensors, which I think is kind of a hindrance, but you never know, this new sensor might be decent. It really needs a good mixture of photo and video to be widespread. Basically, a good full system from Sigma would be amazing. I'd really like to see that because you have fully dedicated one manufacturer making the lenses, and the camera definitely leads to really good video autofocus and all that. Canon, for example, and Sony. But if Sigma were to have a full system, all Sigma stuff, that looks pretty exciting to me. Panasonic has their full frame coming up. We all know that. I do think they'll be relatively expensive, and they'll be more focused on photography than the video stuff because, of course, the screen doesn't look like it's going to flip forward. 2019, there could be a GH6 camera, maybe even early, but they might have moved all of those resources to their full frame stuff. Hopefully not, because a GH6 with really good video autofocus would be huge. You've got the great stabilization and really good video autofocus. Come on. That's a huge missed opportunity for them unless they just decided that Micro Four Thirds is no longer viable. Who knows? Olympus, they're probably going to go more photography, just basically keep reiterating their Micro Four Thirds stuff. It doesn't look like they're going larger sensor, which is fine, but basically they have to really own it amazingly well, better than Panasonic. Just basically, they're going to have larger cameras in their Micro Four Thirds, but of course, who knows? I don't know how this is going to go for them. Probably not too well. Pentax Ricoh, of course, there's the few cameras they've announced that are coming out, but you're going to probably have a K3 version, whatever, and it might be some type of hybrid mirrorless where it's going to still use the K mount, but not have any type of mirror inside. That's probably the only way they could go. I don't know if they are going to really release a new mirrorless mount. That would be impressive, but unlikely considering what resources they probably have. Of course, Theta, maybe a new version of that 3D camera. That's probably one of their big sellers these days. And the K1, probably a silver version, which I noticed on the Pentax forums. The big thing from Pentax I could see happening is a revised 645 with a full mirrorless mount on it so they can compete with Fujifilm. If they don't do that, they're probably going to be at risk of being unappealing to those photographers if they want smaller cameras, but who knows. With Sony, we might see some really big stuff like the global shutter come out with their cameras, the A7S III for the most part. If that has a global shutter, that's going to be kind of game-changing for the video stuff because you won't have the rolling shutter issue with that camera. It'll most likely be amazing with low light situations, although they'll probably up the price on it to $4,000 plus in that case. Of course, maybe they'll even have the fully articulating screen, which would be crazy for Sony, but you never know. That would be the thing I would like to see most, is that global shutter A7S III with the flip screen. So I do think we'll see at least one APS-C camera, maybe a lens or two in that format, but we'll see mostly full frame stuff, more lenses for the most part. With Nikon, it's kind of challenging to guesstimate what they're going to do. Of course, we will get the lenses that they're estimating to be released on their roadmap. It was nice for them to release some type of roadmap because it gives the Z owners an idea of what to expect. But body-wise, I do think we could see potentially one Z camera from them, although they will be most likely releasing some revised versions of their DSLRs. I should have mentioned Canon too is probably going to release some standard DSLRs. But with Nikon, I could see them releasing some type of sports version of the Z camera in 2019. With Fujifilm, we'll probably see a lot of lens releases, but also the XH2, I think that's what it's called, or will be called, for the video stuff. Basically the XT3 plus all of the video stuff, the shake reduction in the camera, and all those advanced video features with improvements to all the software side and more speed and everything for that camera. Basically their flagship for that whole line of camera. The potentially interesting thing with Fujifilm moving forward into 2019 is that they might be doing re-envisionings of their fully integrated cameras, the X100, X70, and we could potentially see a full-frame version of the X100 series. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think it's extremely unlikely, but maybe a fully re-envisioned X100 with a new lens that's faster with autofocus. The biggest release of 2019 will be from Yongnuo with their fully integrated Android-operated EF mount mirrorless camera with full cellular connection, 4G. Put a SIM card in there, you'll have that full internet connection everywhere. You'll probably be able to connect a screen, keyboard to it, put your EF lenses on there, do video, do photos. edit things in the camera or connected to a screen. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be groundbreaking, revolutionary, whatever word you want to use for that camera. That's going to be the step forward from 2019. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing. Helps me out a lot. Likes and shares about a lot as well. Thanks again. If we see more of those into then there's Panasonic A7S III with the flip screen. So let's hope that looks pretty exciting to me with the mirrorless.